Hey leaders, thank you so much for loving kids this Sunday and for leading them in lessons. It is October 16th. We are continuing to work through our James series. This week we are on James chapter 3. Because we just did James as a unit on our Tuesday nights last year, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in verses 1 through 12 because we spent a lot of time on that on Tuesdays, but we will mention a little bit the whole, and we've been talking about the tongue and how hard it is to control and how essential it is to learn that, and that we can only do that with the help of the Holy Spirit. So we'll definitely talk about that. We'll talk about what those words mean, praising and cursing. We will spend more time on wisdom and how do we get wisdom? How do we show wisdom? What does wisdom mean? And then at the end of that passage, it talks about kind of being that person of peace, how to walk in peace. And what does that mean? How do we have wisdom to walk in peace? And that's kind of where our application activities will come from this week, is that peace component. So for our creative activity, we are going to make our bottles. And so you'll fill them. They will already be filled about halfway or so with water. And then we'll have funnels and you'll add just about an inch or so of oil. They can add 3 or 4 drops of coloring, food coloring, and then add a few sequins or stars or something like that. And the whole point of this is when our hearts and our minds are at peace, we're practicing wisdom, our decisions can be made better, our emotions flow better, we're in control of all of those things, we are better able to control our tongues, all of that kind of stuff. But when we are not at peace, everything's crazy and bubbly and mixed and it's rough and all of that. So we will make our bottles. We will have glue guns in there because you will want to hot glue the lid on there so that, So our physical activity will be different parachute games. So we'll have parachute in there, kind you remember from kindergarten, from elementary school, where it's the big, and it has the handles and everybody sits around the parachute. So you can play popcorn, where we'll throw some balls on there. Kids will be holding the handles all the way around and you'll pop it up and down. And the goal is to keep all of the items on the parachute. So you can start with one and add more, or have them do it slowly and then do it bigger, and practice talking about emotions and how are we keeping our mouths under control, and are we practicing wisdom, and all of those things. Is the Holy Spirit helping us? You can also play a game called Cat and Mouse, which could potentially get dangerous if they're not listening and following rules. Not dangerous. Your cat's on top of the parachute, your mouse is underneath the parachute trying to scurry away, and your kids are flapping the parachute to try to trick the mouse to not know, or the cat to not know where the mouse is. Third option is just simply merry-go-round. They're all on the outside and somebody's calling out how to move. Are we jumping? Are we skipping? Are we walking in a circle? Are we walking backwards in a circle? Those kinds of things. And everybody's got to be listening and working at peace with one another in order for this to go well and not end up in a big pile. Also of note, we will be celebrating communion as part of elementary service this week. The adults will be doing it towards the end of the service. So we'll do it down here. Not quite sure yet if we will do that as part of the large group time at the beginning, or if we will come back together at the end. I'm waiting to hear from Pastor Mark. So depending on what he says, we may have to squish our times a little bit, but that gives you a heads up for this Sunday. Thank you so much for leading. Thank you for continuing to be studying and praying through the book of James and how that impacts our everyday, ordinary lives. Thanks, guys. Bye.